Last time we have studied about induced absorption, spontaneous emission, and the rate of probability, etc. Now we will start with stimulated emission. Now it is seen that the rate of spontaneous transition is determined only by the population N2 at the higher energy level, whereas the rate of absorption transition is determined by the population N1 at the lower energy level and the energy density rho nu in the incident light. If the absorption and the spontaneous emission were the only process operative, then obviously the number of atoms absorbing radiation per second would be more than the number of atoms emitting light per second. Eventually, we may end up the non-equilibrium situation where all the atoms in the medium are excited, but this condition is not observed in practice. It means that equilibrium is maintained. Therefore, in order to account for the state of equilibrium between the light and the matter, Einstein pointed out that if a photon can stimulate an atom to move from a lower energy level E1 to a higher energy level E2 by means of absorption transition, then the photon should also be able to stimulate an atom from the same upper level E2 to the energy level lower level, that is E1. Once again, I would like to explain. If a photon can stimulate an atom to move from lower energy level E1 to a higher energy level E2 by means of absorption transition, then a photon should also be able to stimulate an atom from the same upper energy level E2 to lower energy level E1. This alternative mechanism of photon emission depends on the photon density present in the medium and is known as stimulated emission. Now in this diagram you can see there are two energy levels E1 and E2, and before the atom was in excited state, that is in E2, and incident photons are h nu, which is equal to E2 minus E1. Now in this case, this atom again comes to the lower energy state by giving an energy h nu. Now here you will see there are two types of energy having the same value, h nu and h nu, which is incident photon as well as when the atom is transit from the E2 to E1. Okay, this is called as the stimulation emission or stimulated emission. An atom in the excited state need not wait for the spontaneous emission of the photon. Well, before the atom can make spontaneous transition, it may interact with the photon with the energy h nu is equal to E2 minus E1 and make a downward transition, that which was I will explain. The photon is said to be stimulated or induce the excited atom to emit a photon of energy h nu is equal to E2 minus E1. The passing photon does not appear, and the addition to it there is a second photon which is emitted by the excited atom as shown in figure. The phenomena of the forced photon induced by the excited atom due to the action of the external agency is called the stimulated emission or induced emission. The process may be written as A star plus h nu gives A plus twice of h nu. The probability that a stimulated transition occurs is given by, that is P21, mean energy level 2 to 1. Stimulated is proportional to rho nu, or P21 stimulated is equal to B21 rho nu, where B21 is the again a constant of proportionality and it is known as the Einstein coefficient for the stimulated emission. It is constant characteristics of the atom and represent the properties of the energy states E1 and E2. B21 represent the probability of the induced transition from level 2 to 1, the number of stimulated transition occurring in the material at any instant will be equal to the product of the number of atoms at the energy level E2 and the probability P21 for the stimulated transition. Thus, the rate of stimulated emission of the photon is given by R stimulated, that is St, is equal to B21 rho nu N2. In stimulated emission, each incident photon encounters a previously excited atom, and the optical field of the photon interacts with the electrons. The result of the interaction is kind of the resonance effect, which induced each atom to emit a second photons with the same frequency, direction, phase, and polarization at the incident photon. Means the next coming atom has the same frequency, direction, phase, and polarization. Now we can see what are the salient features of the stimulated emission of light. The process of stimulated emission is controllable from the outside. That can be controlled from the outside. If number of the photons can change, then the process will be also changed or controlled. The photon induced in this process propagates in the same direction as that of the stimulated photon. Means both have the same direction. The induced photons has features identical to that of the incident photon. It has the same frequency, phase, and plane of polarization as that of the stimulating photon. Multiplication of the photons. The outstanding feature of this process is the multiplication of the photons. For one photon interacting with the excited atom, there are two photons emerging. The two photons traveling in the same direction interact with the two more excited atoms and they generate two more photons and produce the total number of 4 photons. These 4 again stimulate 4 excited atoms and generate 8 photons and so on. The number of photons build up in the avalanche-like manner as shown in this diagram. 1 gives 2, then 2 gives 4, 4 gives 8 and so on. Then light amplification. All the light waves generated in the medium are due to the one initial wave and all of the waves are in the same phase. Thus the waves are coherent and interfere constructively. Okay, like this in diagram. Coherence radiation, Crompton waveforms and result of the waveforms. The net intensity of the light will be proportional to the square of the number of the atoms radiating light, that is I total is equal to n square I. The light emitted through the process of the stimulated emission is very high intensity and say light is amplified. As a reasonable temperature, there cannot be enough atom in the excited state for any appreciable amount of the stimulated emission from this state to occur. Rather absorption in the more probable. This diagram shows absorption, spontaneous emission and stimulated emission. Complete process, all three processes are shown in this diagram. The three processes, namely absorption, spontaneous emission and stimulated emission, occur simultaneously in the medium. Under steady state condition, the absorption and the emission process balance each other. Thus, R absorption is equal to R spontaneous plus R stimulated. That is B12 N1 rho nu is equal to A21 N2 plus B21 N2 rho nu. If we consider a medium in the thermal equilibrium, there should be more atom in the lower level than the higher level. That is N1 always very greater than N2. As the probability of the absorption transition equal to the probability of the stimulated transition, a photon traveling through the medium is more likely to get absorbed than the stimulated, an excited atom to the emitted photon. Therefore, usually the process of the absorption denotes in the process of the stimulated emission. Means the process of absorption is dominate in the process of stimulated emission. Similarly, an atom is at the excited state is more likely to jump to a lower energy level or is owned by stimulating a photon. It is due to the fact that the photon density in the incident beam is not sufficient to interact with the excited atom, and the photons interact with the atom of at lower level because of the large population available at that level. Owing to this, the spontaneous emission dominates the stimulated emission. Thank you. Again, we will start with new topic.